Hello, hello, and good morning. Welcome to everybody that watches live and also that watch the recorded broadcast or version of this. How are you? I'm Lori, and here I am with the amazing co-host Tammy. And we have Irene, which she's been in our show before. And we have Reverend Emmanuel Illuminardi. So we are happy to have you. And our topic today is very exciting. We're going to talk about the healing properties and or harmful properties of sound, and he has lots to tell us.
Well, and we just want to say thank you for being here. And if you have any questions during this show, please put them in the comments and we'd be happy to answer those. Or, of course, if you're watching this later, then put them in the notes and we will go there and answer your questions as well. But thanks again. Thanks for tuning in today. And for anybody that has a birthday today, happy birthday. And if you're sick today, then I'm praying you get better. So, anyway, we want to welcome Emmanuel here today, and we also want to say hi back to Irene, who referred Emmanuel. So we're excited to have both of them here, but we're here today to find first, let's hear where Emmanuel's from in his journey, right?
Yes.
And welcome, Emmanuel. And where are you located at today?
At present, I live in Boulder, Colorado. I grew up in California, and we've lived here for the last 6 years. I was drawn here because of the red rocks and the mountains.
So it is gorgeous there. So,
It is very beautiful.
what part of California did you grow up in?
Redondo Beach,
Okay.
San Pedro, so South Bay.
Okay. So I'm in there. So, I mean, I grew up in several places in Oregon. So, and I've gone to California quite a few times, like Lake Tahoe area, clear down, to San Diego and stuff. And it's a beautiful area as well. But there is something about Colorado. So it is absolutely gorgeous as well. It's similar to my area.
It's beautiful here. I lived in the redwoods in Santa Cruz for a few years. I missed that.
Well, has anybody here been to the redwoods? I'm going to throw that out there because those redwoods are incredible, aren't they? The trees. How
Not yet.
They are. They fill you full of energy.
Tammy, I want to say hello to Eva and Karen and Melissa. They're watching live here with us. Welcome.
welcome. And so, yeah, I just love the way the bark, the way the trees reach up to the sky, and it's just incredible how large those trees do get. So, um,
They actually start to vibrate when you're in them. If you sit quiet, you can hear them vibrate.
So, and yeah, there's just something about the sounds in the woods. So now, Emmanuel, you have a farm, correct?
Yes, I live on a small 5-acre farm. So we just got a geodesic dome we'll be putting up in the next couple of months. I have a couple of hoop houses and then a few farm animals to help graze the land.
And I know it's a lot of work. If any of you guys have a farm, it is quite a bit of work, right?
Yes.
But it's rewarding at the same time.
It is, and our animals are our pets. We go for walks down the road and we play with them. So yeah, they very affectionate.
Yeah, yesterday I walked down and my granddaughter gave us one of her roosters, and his name's Kiwi, and Kiwi has to be hugged and held every time I go to the coop, and so do several of our other
Yes.
chickens. It's like they sit on my feet until I pick them up and hold them for a while, and then put them back down, and that's our daily routine, so and you kind of get used to it. So I go down and see them and they really miss you if it's like, yeah, I have feed to where they would never starve if I didn't show up down there, but I like to go down and be with them.
Don't you have like 27 chickens, Emmanuel?
I do. I have 27. We just added 8 new chicks. We have
Oh my goodness.
brooder.
Imagine if every one of them needed to be picked up and held every day.
Yeah, well, hey, my granddaughter started it.
That's
She
sweet.
was raised chickens, and she would take them and rock them in the swing. Hold
Oh,
them,
that's
cuddle
so
them, and swing with
cute.
them. And so we have the nicest roosters and the nicest chickens, So sometimes they can be too friendly because they don't know a stranger or another strange animal.
That is so cute. I love it. First time I hear about swinging them. But I have a viewer here, Melissa. She's saying that she grew up visiting the redwoods of Northern California. And she says it's so beautiful, peaceful, and even healing. And that leads me to ask you, Emmanuel, because you are, I'm gonna just say and say, you're a sound expert. And I'm fascinated and intrigued by the vibrations about the trees in the redwoods. And if from there you can talk about sound and what you do.
Well, the redwoods are very sentient trees. They actually will give you energy if you put your hands on them. If you sit there quietly, you'll hear them vibrate. When I go in and I chant when I do my work. So as I chant, you can hear the trees and you can feel them raise their energy level in the vibration. All trees will give you energy. In my experience, the redwoods have been the most generous. Um, I use my voice like a tuning fork. So I'll start to chant and it'll send frequencies, and it works like a tuning fork where it'll vibrate things in your body and get them to move. That said, when I'm in the redwoods, the trees will pick up and amplify that same vibration. So I worked in a redwood grove for almost 2 years. It was really lovely.
And for the untrained eye or untrained person like me, for example, in the context of this, like how would you know that the trees give you energy? How would you feel that? I know
Uh,
that hugging trees is a thing, and I've done that myself. But for what does that look like? Or
if you put your hand on a tree and just relax and breathe into the tree and breathe out, you'll start to feel the energy coming from the tree up your arm. It's a very subtle transfer, but you can feel it coming from the trees.
Okay.
That's, I'm gonna have to do a little bit more. I mean, I always feel so much energy because we have 10 acres and we're surrounded by trees. On my place, we have the
Lucky
cedars,
you.
firs, pines, aspen, alder, um, all of these different types of trees. And like you said, each one is special, you know.
Yes, they all have a different property, and they resonate at a different frequency. And again, the in my experience, the redwoods have been the most resonant. Um, Fruit trees tend to be more dense, but they'll still give you energy.
I actually, I totally get it because it's like, you know, there's a difference between the trees, like you said, down in the orchard area compared to where I'm surrounded. I'm looking out my window right now at the firs and pines and cedars right here. And there is when you just walking under or around them.
Well, they've actually published studies that actually immersing yourself in a forest will actually contribute to your healing. All you have to do is stay in the forest, and the trees will naturally contribute to your healing.
I
Those are
feel energized and better just from walking outside near the trees. I mean, instantly, I feel better if I'm, feeling tired or sluggish or a little bit sick. And I went for an hour walk this morning and just being out with the trees, I just felt so much better. It really is healing, just being near them.
Thank you. And then those studies, Emmanuel, those studies say the healing is more around physical, emotional, spiritual, all of the above, or
all
um,
of the above. They've
wow.
actually immersed people in with serious diseases, and those have turned around.
Yeah. So, like for our audience out there, if you say, okay, get out into the forest because fill in the blank, like what is it that they're going to experience?
Well, most importantly, they'll experience the relaxation. the forest will promote your body to relax, especially if there are birds present. When we hear birds singing in nature, it will automatically start to relax our body.
I love it. Mm-hmm.
In our DNA, when birds are singing, that's the signal that things are safe. So it unconsciously allows us to relax. And that's just from our DNA and experience that's been there. When birds are singing, instinctively, nature knows that things are safe. When birds start singing, then there's danger present.
Versus like maybe flapping their wings crazy, trying to find refuge and things like that. Then
big difference.
Go. Wow. Okay.
So I totally get it. I mean, I had the fortunate experience, and you probably have had something like this before, where I was actually out painting on an easel of mine, and we have lots of songbirds and stuff. And while I was finishing up doing some touches on this painting, which was a 3D wall sculpture of a nest in an apple branches. This little yellow songbird, little finch, came and landed on my easel and sang me a song.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
And that is a beautiful piece of art, Tammy. If you can share this week or under this broadcast comments and
I'll
stuff,
have
because
to.
it's just
I mean,
amazing.
I sold it within a week of doing that, you know. But that little songbird, I mean, I'll never forget that story because it was so special. And like you said, when I'm outside or the garden, I open my windows just so I can hear the songbirds singing in the morning, like when I'm having coffee and stuff. This time of year, it's a little bit more difficult. They're starting to come out because it started melting. Snow did. But having the sounds, and like you said, when you hear the sounds like of the birds or you see the bunnies running around and stuff, the woods it feels safe because it's like no matter even if we're hiking up into Alpine Lake, you know, it's like you're always looking for signs, and that is a great sign or reminder if it's safe or not with just the birds singing. So.
And Emmanuel, that mural behind Tammy, she painted that. Isn't it beautiful?
Beautiful.
Well, it's 3D art. I don't know if the correct term is painted.
Yeah, it's a 3D wall sculpture.
3D art. Okay.
So it's all carved. It's sculpted and carved.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So it's not just paint. It's hand carved. Reliefs work kind of like you would see in China or Europe, you know, the big pieces, or think of the Lincoln Monument or Mount Rushmore.
That's a lot of detail.
Yes. Yeah. She's surrounded by nature, and then she wants to bring nature indoors. So that's what she does. I love the comments here, Emmanuel, and you're really helping people understand, and Tammy too, with her experiences, and Irene when saying that she went already on a walk this morning and she felt so relaxed. Melissa says, I agree with Emmanuel. Trees are the lungs of the earth. They fill us with oxygen, which energizes. And Eva is saying that she totally agrees as well. She is healing in the forest nearby on her weekly walks and jogs. And then Karen, and I'm excited to see Karen here. I too believe we have a genesis of energy and growth here on this planet. Those who realize this sure do benefit from it. And then, yes, Melissa is praising your talent, Tammy. So
I was going to ask, Emmanuel, do you have any stories of healing with your sound? I mean, I'm so intrigued because I've heard a lot we have a guest, a friend or part of our show, Olivia. I even did a story in her book, The Mother Earth Effects, in one of her chapters. And she's all about grounding and healing as well. And she'd kind of told us a little bit about sound, but you have so much, you do it professionally even for healing. How did you get into all of this?
Well, I've been doing what I do my whole life. I've just always done it. I'm an extremely sensitive empath, so I feel everything. And when I touch people, my hands get really hot, and somehow the energy transfers from them to myself. To date, I've assisted 113 people, stage 3 and 4 cancer-free, Hashimoto's, osteoporosis, lupus, lots of other things. I work solely through referral. I have clients all over the world. So mostly what I do is teach people how to deal with their empathy. 82 of the people that I helped cancer free, I had to teach them how to say no. So a lot of times when you say yes and you don't really want to, your emotions will get shoved into your stomach and that'll get knotted up. And eventually those knots turn into illnesses. Well, what I do is I help you find the reasons that got you sick and change those patterns. And then we move the energy that's stuck in your body and it allows your body to regenerate and heal itself. So I'm really big on learning to listen to your inner voice when you eat something, whether it's healthy for you, when you go someplace, whether it's healthy, because places can be toxic. Every once in a while, I have clients come to visit me and we go on field trips. We'll go to either a Walmart or a Costco on a Saturday morning because those are the two most toxic places you can walk into. And it allows me to see how they're holding their energy, what they're taking in, what they're not taking in, and how it affects them so I can help them change that pattern. I took somebody 2 days ago, and every time they got near somebody who was holding anxiety, they stopped breathing, their tummy got cramped, and it had nothing to do with them. It was what they were feeling from somebody else. So I was able to show them how they were doing that, teach them how to breathe and pass through it so that they don't go home thinking that there's something wrong with them when it was just the other person that they picked up and brought home. So because we're empathic, we pick up things from people, we pick up things from places, and then we end up thinking that something's wrong with us when it's just the person or the place that we were in that we carried away with. Because again, everything is energy. So what I do is I teach you to be present in your own body and to feel not only your environment, but the things you eat. When you're interacting with somebody, whether it's healthy for you or not. A lot of people have relationships that the people drain them. They're dumping their problems on them, and when the person leaves, you're exhausted. That's because that person was not only dumping their problems, they were pulling your energy and feeding on you. So little things I teach people to pay attention to and become aware of.
But do you also teach them how to, I don't know if the word is not allow that to happen or shield themselves up to protect themselves from it? Yeah, from others draining their energy. Absolutely.
And shielding, I don't teach. I teach you to stand and raise your own vibration. When you're in your own vibration, there's no necessary to shield.
Shield. Got it. Okay.
Because most people stay in a lower frequency. So if you stay in your own integrity, then it's hard for you to pick up anything else. And that mainly is just breathing, full deep breaths below your belly button. It's almost impossible to shove anything down if you're breathing properly.
Okay, and then I'm so fascinated by you mentioning that the worst places are these warehouses versus I don't know if this is an example that even compares, but I'm curious to know versus like a disco place or a tattoo place where there's a lot of I don't know, like interesting images.
People go to dance. There's a difference if they're just out dancing as opposed to if they're drinking and dancing.
Right.
So when we dance, we relax and we start to let go of all the energy and the negative things that we're holding. So sometimes if you go out to a nightclub or a place and you're dancing and you come home and you're aching and you're tired and worn out, it's not because of what you were doing. It's because of all the energy that the people were throwing around and you picked up and brought home. So generally, when I go into places like that, before I come into my house, I'll put my feet in the earth for a few minutes and I'll ground and clear everybody up.
That's great.
Or I'll immediately go in and take a shower and wash off all that energy.
And also the clothes in the hamper, I think that's important too. And yeah.
It's very important.
Not to put it.
And I can see like that's probably why viruses spread more at Christmas time, because the stores and stuff are more crowded. Uh,
It's not only that they're more crowded, they're actually running the heat, and the viruses survive and thrive in the heat.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's why, as the planet's warming, we're having more viruses come because they thrive in the heat. They don't do
I
well in cold weather.
How about that season also brings about a lot of stress and anxiety, turmoil, mental turmoil, financial turmoil. Maybe that all that combination, it's perfect cocktail to
It
drain.
does. It
Mm-hmm.
puts a tremendous amount of unnecessary stress on us.
Mm-hmm.
And we get conditioned that we're supposed to do something instead of sitting with ourselves and asking ourselves, do we really want to do this? And if this is, a right thing to do for everybody involved.
The
I have
problem
to.
is I actually enjoy getting stuff for other people and making stuff.
Well,
And it's my own expectations that I've put on myself that are wrong a lot of times, but I love giving, and doing things for others. So it's just one of those, I don't know.
so
I need
hopefully
to spread
you
it
bring
out
balance.
more, not
Yeah.
just all at once.
Hopefully when you're out and about during that season because you enjoy it so much, and I can see your kindness even in the tone of voice that you're saying it, Tammy. Maybe you help balance it out. But I also want to ask, like, you do that first, if I may even call it like assessment, when you want to see how the client or the person you're working with is reacting in those places. What would be the next step?
Well, after that, I go over what the habits that they were doing, and then we show them different exercises, how to be aware when they're doing that, so that they can make the effort to change those habits. And most of us, when we tend to feel things that are uncomfortable, will default to our head so we don't have to feel anything. So it's impossible to be in your heart and your head at the same time. So what I focus on is training people to stay in their heart and away from their head, because your mind and your eyes will lie every opportunity they get. We condition ourselves to create denials. But when we allow ourselves to feel, and we trust, and we learn to trust what we feel, our body will never lie to us. It will always
That's
tell
really
you is right for you and when it's not.
That's really interesting, and something that I started practicing. I don't remember when, but a few of my mentors, and I know that you've taught me a lot of things too about when you've worked on me, how you ask me to put one hand on my belly, one hand on my heart or my neck, depending on what we're working on. But I've gotten into the practice of every morning putting my hand on my heart and just putting those positive manifestations and vibrations out into the universe. And I think it's a wonderful thing to teach and learn. I didn't know that you did that, or I didn't remember. That's really cool. Emmanuel, I'd love to hear you share that amazing story about your client last week. The one who, because I know that when you work with clients who have cancer, you feel the radiation, you feel the chemo, you have to detox. But with this particular client, he didn't do anything other than just your chanting and your therapy and spending a week with you, or 5 days, I think it was. And his cancer, he's almost completely cancer free. I mean, it just amazes me. It's just incredible.
He has stage 4 esophageal cancer, and he came to me in October. They were going to cut him up and put him on a colostomy bag and do all kinds of lovely things. And I had helped his girlfriend and 4 of her family members 10 years ago. So they encouraged him to come see me. And because of them, he chose just to work with me and nothing else. Um, he was told that he didn't have very long to live if he didn't go through the operation. And last week, he was here for his 3rd trip here. He comes once a month for 4 days. And he had just done his cancer marker test before he came. In the time between the trips, it was 5 weeks, his cancer markers went down 4.5 points. And they're He's 1 point above normal, so he's almost cancer-free.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Does that include also other lifestyle changes like nutrition and then
Nutrition, habits. He was a pleaser, so we have
Mm.
him no longer taking care of anybody. And that's a hard habit to change when people get conditioned to always want to do and take care of and be responsible for other people.
and neglect themselves?
Yes, it's a
Mhm.
hard habit to change, but it's also one of the habits that makes people very ill.
Oh my, yeah.
There has to be balance. There has to be a give back, even if it's just a genuine thank you and not just an entitled take. So energy has rules, and there has to be an ebb and a flow, and you can't keep giving your life force away and not get anything back and expect to be healthy.
Wow.
Learning to say no is one of the hardest things out there. And I've been there many times, and occasionally I'll catch myself there. And it's like, no, you need to say no, and like you said, sometimes it hurts because you don't want to, but at the same time, you need to and have to.
As a
It-
society, we're not encouraged to say no. We're encouraged to consume and
Very
leave.
true. Now, Eva has a question for you here. How can you do it with that many people in a group? Every situation is different, isn't it? Or are there practices which helps in general for everyone?
Everyone is different. I've been doing what I do my whole life. I still can't tell you what I do. I don't have a client that can tell you what I do. Every time I work with you every day, it's a different thing because the way you hold your energy is different. The emotions you're in is different. So when I work with groups, I tend to just do a general push of energy, and I try to maintain the room so that I don't put anybody through detox. And I'll stop because I put people through detoxes. I'm on calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I break up my sessions over a few days because of that. On average, I spend 10 to 15 minutes at a time with my clients, and even then, sometimes they still go through detoxes, and I have to help get them through that. So each individual, the way they hold their emotions, their trauma, it's all different. So it's one of the reasons I don't advertise. There's no box to put anything in. No one holds things the same way. No one perceives things the same way. Even the way we communicate is different. So one of the things that I teach people is in communication is, even though we all learn the same language, our perceptions are different. So a lot of times there'll be problems where you're both saying blue and you're not getting anywhere. But if you take a step back and say, this is what this blue means to me, what does it mean to you? It might just be a small hue change, but that huge change is a huge difference in how we're perceiving something. So when you can get on the same level on what those perceptions are for each other, it makes communication easier. And it allows you to process the things that you're holding because you're not creating a story from your own perceptions. You're learning to relate the story through their perceptions.
I love it, and I agree with you. With what I do with life coaching and clinical hypnosis, I relate to you to what you said in terms of there might be a protocol or some steps that I'm already familiar with, but the way of delivering it might be different from person to person because of the same reason. And I really admire the fact that you work intuitively, is what I should say, right? Because you're an empathetic, you're very much an empath, and you need to listen to the unspoken. You need to be able to tune into that person's specific need and angle and approach and delivery even. Irene,
Correct.
sorry, you were going to say something.
Well, so when I started working with Emmanuel as with him as my client, not as a client of his, although he has worked on me since. So he let me into his portal where he has all these different trainings that he only gives to his clients. It's a private portal, and he has all different types of videos about grounding, and I don't remember what the other ones are, but all these different things about protecting your energy. And he has a group training in there as well. It's, I think, about 30 to 40 minutes. And he was actually doing a group training outside in the woods. And I watched it just to learn more about what he was doing. But I followed suit. I sat there, I wasn't outside though, grounded, with bare feet, but just sitting comfortably, cross-legged and listening to the sounds with my eyes closed and following where to put my hands and things like that. Afterward, I felt amazing. I felt fantastic. And he has not put together a group thing in a while. And I keep trying to encourage him. He's got these big plans to start doing workshops in Colorado and doing groups and bringing people there. He does all the cooking for his clients while they're there, and they only eat clean. They're very healthy. It's a self-sustaining farm. And but I want to encourage him to start to help more people and create more impact. And as coaches, you guys know that, trading hours for dollars isn't, there are so many other ways to really help more people. To just package that up and just sell it for $97 so he could just help more people. I mean, he could easily sell it for so much
I can
more.
understand where Emmanuel's coming from. It's kind of like when I teach art, or I've worked with youth for many years. I did you could call it counseling or whatever. For 38 years, I was a youth mentor, and each person is different. And sometimes you might have one client that needs more help, where at other times you can help 10 different people. And if you can help one person, that one person might then go and take what you've taught them and help others too. So I can see both sides of it. Just throwing that out there, because sometimes it can
He
be
has done
overwhelming.
that. He
And it's
has
like you have to
taught
find
people.
what works for you and works for the client. It's like, I
Yeah.
mean, we have it all the time too.
And
Sometimes smaller is better than larger. So,
and everybody is different. I had a woman come to me. She was 62 years old. She showed up with penny loafers, corduroys, creased razor sharp, a white shirt with a sweater and a doily collar. She crossed her legs and put her hands on her lap and says to me, "I'd like you to tell me what's wrong with me." And I laughed and I said, "Darling, you're a little lymph. The only thing wrong with you is you're so locked up. You got a stick shoved so far up your tuchus you can't breathe."
That's what I perceived
So
just by your description.
I told her, you just need to go play. That's it. Go play. Honor who you are and
I
go
love
play.
it.
So 2 months later, I'm doing a sermon at a friend's church. This woman walks in a tie-dye dress, her hair frizzed out, and a flower in her hair. I looked at my wife. I said, "Do we know that woman?" Said, "I don't know." So just before I start, she reached up and grabbed my shoulder and she said, "Stick's not all the way out. I'll see you soon." She took off laughing. A month later, she comes to see me, and whole different person. I said, "What happened?" She said, "Well, I had my grandkids after I saw you, and I was pretty upset with what you said to me. And the whole weekend, there was no pain. And then Monday morning after they left, I woke up and I couldn't move. And all I heard was your voice saying, 'Pull the stick out.'" So I started to play a little bit and sing. And within a couple of days, there was no pain. And just to be sure, I wanted to wait a while to make sure it didn't come back. And, it's been almost 3 months and there's no pain. Now, once a month, she takes a group of seniors out to remember their inner child and to play. She's making a very good living doing it. But I didn't have to do anything for her but tell her to go play. That was the only thing wrong with her. Her whole essence was locked up because she wouldn't allow herself to be free and honor who she was. Came from childhood with her parents telling her, "You're making a scene, people are watching, yada, yada, whatever it is." And, there aren't a lot of people that have that essence, but most of those people that have that essence have been locked up because other people's judgments. And for those people, if they just play, everything in their body will heal on its own.
Have you ever noticed, this is one thing I noticed, a lot of old people that are especially, it seems like when they hit 45, a lot of times people say, I'm too old to do that. I'm too old. I can't do that. They always use I'm too old in my thing. And I'm like, you're only as young as you want to be. Who says you can't do that? Who says you can't go hiking and fishing and have fun, right? Why do you have to act
61.
like you're crippled? I think when you put that, to me, it's a negative input that you're putting in your mind and your body when you're saying, I'm too old to do that.
You're debilitating yourself. Yes.
Well, some
Those
people also
words,
say I'm too young, whatever excuse, right, for to stop them from being like, and I love what you said, Emmanuel, like being their true self. Right now, I'm telling people here in my area, friends, my brother, hey, are we going to the circus again? They're coming to town, and I want to go see that. And I just said this inner child needs to go to the circus again because I didn't have the opportunity as a child, and it wasn't very available, and I didn't have the opportunity. So here, right now, as a whatever my age is right now, full-grown woman, I want to go to the circus. When I was in my daughter has in New York, I was helping with her new baby, and we were all waiting for my new grandbaby, etc. She also has other kids. I would always want to go out to they have a sand pit. And it was kind of cold already and chilly, but still I wanted to ground myself because it wasn't very pleasant to be out there much because of how cold it was compared to my hometown, my home city in Texas. But I wanted to play with sand, and we would be out there and play. And like you said, Emmanuel, like dancing to relieve that energy. For Tammy's art, I mean, what is it that you want to play with, like Emmanuel told that person that changed her life? And we always want to throw out their challenges and invitations, Emmanuel. But also I have Eva here asking two more questions. Can you teach what you do? And I think he already answered that it's not a cookie cutter process. It's very individual, but he can tell us more a little bit here. And so more people could be helped through other healers. And she's asking if she can share this video. And Tammy, guess what? I told her, of course, because we always um, offer the YouTube video version. And also I encourage Eva, as we will encourage everybody else watching, you can also invite people to join our group so they can watch in here in this community, which is an uplifting community, and it's great. But Eva, if I got that question correct, you want Emmanuel to teach a little bit more of what is it that
I think what she's saying, if I'm correct, Eva, is you're wanting to know if what Emmanuel does can be taught to others to be coaches or to do what he does. Because to me, Emmanuel, that's a gift that with the sound that you're able to do to feel those vibrations. And sometimes it's harder to teach gifts. Some things that people are born with. So she wants to know, I think, are you born with it?
I
Oh,
was
she's saying yes,
born.
Tammy.
I was born with what I do, but I can teach the basics and rudimentary. A lot of what I do is from life experience. Just the knowledge and the behavioral patterns, those are all learned from life experience. But the chanting and the moving of energy, I taught at the Sound Institute in San Francisco for a couple of years, and I can teach a lot of the rudimentaries. I can teach you to deal with your empathy and how to use that. A large part of this is surrender. So
That's how Irene, he gets it out there, is he teaches others and oversees them.
No, we are planning some live workshops too. So yeah, we're excited about that. But it's hard for him to travel and with his family and the farm and all of that. So bringing it to him.
I totally get it. So.
But you have there was that one guy you told me about, that client of yours who you taught, who now does it full time.
Yes, he's a minister in San Francisco, and he teaches. He does sound healing and other things.
So it is possible.
That's awesome. So I have a question for you, Emmanuel. And this is because I noticed that is music. Some music I can listen to and it relaxes me. Other music, if I hear hard rock or screaming, I immediately, and I've been this way since I was little, I will start tensing up almost immediately.
That's because you have a tone sensitivity. So a lot of people have tone sensitivities that they learn in childhood, and it affects their behaviors and their fear responses. Also, recorded music is not in a natural frequency. So some recorded music, the frequencies that they're recorded in and the tones that they use can be harsh and hard on your system because they're not natural. I have never in my life purchased music. I'll listen to it live because it's a natural frequency, but I will not listen to recorded music because it's like fingernails on a chalkboard for me. It's not natural. And a lot of us throughout history, music has been used to control and suppress populations. And until the 20th century, most music was chosen what you were allowed to listen to by your government. And that's how they maintain the populations through that and sporting events and theaters. But sound has been used to control, it's been used to elicit fear, and it's been used to relax and calm people so that you can herd them.
Yeah, Michael Ballum, he has a study on how sound helped flowers bloom and blossom or wilt and die even. It's a very fascinating research he did and experiment. And I can totally believe it. When I do clinical hypnosis or guided meditations, I have very relaxing music because it enhances the experience with my voice. And definitely, I love it. Like you said it, like sound can and music can relax. Like we were saying, about the birds. There's something really, really powerful on the sound of birds for me personally.
It's primal instincts.
Yeah, I just relax, and I love the fact that you kind of help me connect the dots in which it basically is like everything is okay. Things are okay. Like the world, it gives us hope, right? Things are safe.
Yeah.
I love the fact that where media and the programming, because literally that's why they're called programs because they program us. And I just, like Tabby was mentioning, that I posted something about what media does, the purpose of media. If we only would shut it off, change the programming to our biggest screen out there, which is nature, and it's the biggest masterpiece, it will be so much better for us for that tension and anxiety that they are wanting us to live on will just dissipate and disperse and dissolve and melt, with the sunlight, with the fresh air and oxygen, with the vibration of the trees. Then now that I'm just like realizing,
And the last thing, water.
And
The sound
water.
of water. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about.
Sadly, I don't have that as close to me, but I hope that all these other things will help me, because it is true. Like just to have that glimpse of hope through the birds, Emmanuel, that things are safe, things are not as horrible as they make it sound like. That if birds are chirping and singing, it's because things are safe. And to me, that means a lot and makes a big difference in my life.
It does.
That's really interesting that you shared that, Lori. My cat was a rescue, and he sometimes he gets very anxious, and I put birds and squirrels on the computer for him, especially if there's a thunderstorm and he starts to get nervous. And they have like live YouTube videos where you can listen to them live or they're recorded, and there's birds and squirrels and there's all different ones, and it really, really helps to calm him when he's listening to the birds and the squirrels. And I mean, it's free and it's out there for everyone.
So, Emmanuel, as I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about water, because to me, the soothing sounds of a stream, splat trickling over the rocks, or waterfalls, or the waves hitting, the ocean shores or the beach. To me, the water is one of the most soothing sounds, or even the raindrops at night.
I know, I love it.
So
It's
what
the
can you
essence of
tell
our
us about
being.
that?
It's the essence of our being, and it cleanses us. It provides us with energy, and it absolutely helps us transition. So we're mostly water. So it's important that we keep that balanced. And when we're in water, that allows us to immerse into that knowledge that nature's holding, and your body will absorb whatever information that water is holding. Water carries information. When there's poison in the water and toxicity, that carries into your body as well. So it's I grew up in Redondo Beach, and as a child, I could spend all day in the water. The water is so toxic now, I can't spend 5 minutes in that water. It immediately starts to burn because of all the chemicals and poisons in it.
Well, how sad.
It is.
I mean, we're blessed where we live. We have streams, and like when we hiked up to the Alpine Lake, Lori actually was up here and she got into the lake and it was a little cold that day. It was like in the 60s, which really this time of year is like, oh, I wish it was in the 60s here. But it was just, and we watched this young girl, and she dove into the lake, and she was out there swimming. It was just like, oh my gosh. But she felt so refreshed, or just like when I love spending as much time as possible in the water. I couldn't imagine, the toxins. That would be so horrible. It's kind of like if somebody litters, or like you said, or sprays or whatever. It's like, please, please don't.
Well, because we're water, we're crystalline. And there are experiments that shows that the water formations change depending on the sound and frequencies coming into us. That said, it's the same for us. Depending on the frequencies and the energies we surround ourselves, our bodies will transform into a higher form of, state of healthiness, because those crystals reshift. And when we're in negative environments and negative areas, it breaks down our inner crystalline structures and brings our vibrations down, which is what allows us to get sick. So in that aspect, it's always important to keep your fluids at the highest frequency possible. And that means no negative thoughts and no negative environments.
That's great. And how about salt water? It carries a lot of healing properties, correct? Like
It
the
does,
beach versus a lake, for example, or a man-made lake.
It cleanses and detoxes and pulls all the toxins out of your body.
I'm from the Caribbean. I'm from Puerto Rico, and I miss it so much. I miss
Well, and we do a saltwater pool because those, like you said, there's just something about it. So
Takes the negative energy out.
So awesome. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience to leave them with, a story or anything?
Well, just learn to listen to yourself and trust the very first thing that comes to your mind. It will 90% of the time be absolutely correct. It's our second guessing that gets us in trouble. But most of the time, the very first thing that pops into your mind falls to where you're supposed to be. And, learn to ask. When you want something, ask. And then let it go and don't ponder on it. It's thoughts. We create everything in our environment. And if you can maintain a thought and then let it go and not ponder on it or add negative stuff to it, it's easier for those thoughts to come to fruition. So
I'd like to share something.
Slow down then, like slow down, listen to your inner voice.
To your inner voice.
Your soul more, your soul and your thoughts that are intruding and pervasive there, that are usually negative or antagonistic to our true essence.
I can spend my entire day out of my head. It's a wonderful place to be, just present.
That's great.
Yeah, being present. Go outside and enjoy nature, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Something that Emmanuel taught me, speaking of the salt water, we were talking about how to detox, and he said that the best way to detox, and if you don't have access to salt water, like right now I don't, but I love the ocean. I miss when I lived near the ocean. Is just to take a warm or very hot bath with 2 cups of Epsom salt and 2 cups of baking soda. And he's taught me that that is the best way to detox and cleanse. So if you have a bathtub, that's another way to cleanse. And I always feel great after I do it.
So
It
I
takes
have
the
a,
Just
negative.
using unscented Epsom salt,
yes.
just so you don't have allergic reactions. So,
And
it-
I did that. I have a tub, but I didn't have the time to do that yesterday. And then I did soak my feet with magnesium with Epsom salt. The how much baking soda? Just some
one
amount.
pound of baking soda, 1 pound of Epsom salt. So that's a
Okay.
box of baking soda. What it does is it takes the negative energy out of your magnetic field. And for some people, the first 30 minutes, it may feel like you're crawling out of your skin, and that's because your adrenals are locked. After 30 minutes, your adrenals will let go, and you should melt like butter. Just relax and let go. If you're really toxic, you'll go through a small detox, but mostly you should just relax and sleep well.
so do it at nighttime
Yes,
or where you can take a nap, right?
yes. It'll put you right to sleep.
Wonderful. Like I always say, time goes by super fast when we're having fun. This has been so insightful and enlightening at the same time. And what so many things to learn and take away. Just go out in nature, be true to your essence, be still, and know that nature and forests and trees and the sound of birds heal. Emmanuel has been an amazing guest. And it is so amazing to know, Emmanuel, that you are helping people one at a time, even when it's one at a time. And Irene will help you figure it out how to do it in batches and how to heal and how to appreciate life and live their fullest potential and living true to their essence. Thank you so much.
And Emmanuel does have a full website with some interesting, with a video and stuff on there that was awesome. So we will share that. And it is on, of course, on the post that I had posted, his website for you to find. So if you have more questions, of course, leave them here. And anything else, Irene or Emmanuel?
That's it. Thank you for having me. I appreciate your time.
So,
Yeah, thanks for inviting me back.
oh yeah. Well, thanks so much for being here. We learned so many little golden nuggets to help you in your everyday life. So, and we appreciate each and every person that is here and that has taken the time to listen. And we were excited because we reached over 500 in our group, which is an amazing group, right, Lori?
Yes, we're so excited. Thanks for your
Yay!
support. Thanks for joining.
Congratulations.
Yes, thanks for your posts and sharing your pictures in nature and things that you're grateful for. And we are so happy. Tammy immediately posted a graphic saying, congratulations, we made it to 500. And I love that my neighbor Debbie was like member number 500. It's so cool to see. Everything helps when you share this goodness, we grow together. So thank you.
And sharing is caring. So because you never know if you share this video with somebody, how it could help them. So be sure to share. And I'll be putting up the YouTube version here within the week. So you'll have that as well, which is sometimes easier to share. So thank you so much for being here. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye, Tammy. Bye, Lori. Manuel, talk to you later.